Before we get started, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Bet365. Bet365 is one of the world's largest online gambling groups with over 7 million customers across 200 different countries. Bet365 offers a hugely competitive sports betting product to a large international market. Their live streaming service is the jewel in their crown, with over 20,000 events streamed live every year. As well as sports, Bet365 also offers first-class casino, games, poker, and bingo products. Visit the Bet365 listing in the CAP directory and join today. Thank you, Bet365, for making this video interview possible.
Hey everyone, I'm Warren Jolly with CasinoAffiliatePrograms.com, and I want to welcome you to today's interview with Domenic Koffert, CEO of PokerStrategy.com. PokerStrategy is the world's biggest poker community and strategy website with over 5.5 million members and thousands of educational videos and articles. PokerStrategy is also one of the top 3 poker affiliates in our industry, and for that reason, we're very pleased to have Domenic with us today. In this exclusive interview, Domenic will share some insights into the tremendous success that PokerStrategy has seen along with their future as a business in the poker vertical. Domenic, thanks so much for joining us. It's really a pleasure to have you today.
Yeah, hi. Nice to meet you.
To start things out, could you just please take a minute or two, tell our audience a little bit about the history of PokerStrategy as well as your own personal background?
Yeah. My name is Domenic. My personal background is very common. I went to high school in Germany, did my graduation there. Then I went to the UK to study mathematics and philosophy. There I got in touch with poker world for the first time. I was very skeptical at first because gambling is something you were not supposed to do. But I basically relatively quickly started looking at poker from a very mathematical, strategic point of view. And once I had convinced myself that it's actually a game that can be beaten, I started playing while still at university. And that worked out quite well. I mean, I started as a micro stakes and moved up very quickly. So I said to myself, hey, that's something you could actually teach others. And that's what I started doing, just as a for fun hobby, basically. A little later, I started adding a few affiliate banners, and that worked really well. And then in 2007, I decided to turn it into a proper business and professionalize. And that was basically the foundation of PokerStrategy.com. So yeah, that's now, let's see, it's almost 5 years ago. And since then, we have grown extremely well. We have now, we are now live in 19 languages, and have done really well for ourselves. And I guess the core aspect of our website is really the focus on the poker education, but also the strong focus on building a community of poker players, which has been a tremendous success for us.
Great. So what year did you start out as a poker player?
As a poker player, that was probably in 2004.
Okay, and the first version of PokerStrategy launched in 2007.
Well, no, that was a professional version. I did have a very ugly small poker forum, which was PokerStrategy.de. That was before that, which I basically started from my college dormitory. But that really wasn't what you could call a legitimate business, but rather just for fun, a couple of 100 people there, and it's quite ugly actually. So from a business point of view, it really took off in 2007.
Okay, so what was the original idea when you turned the forum into actually PokerStrategy.com and decided to make it a business? What was the commercial idea behind that move?
Well, the commercial idea was always the same. I mean, when I started it, I didn't really intend it to become a business. I really just did it for fun, and I thought, look, if I'm a university student, I could make, I don't know, $100 a month or $200 a month on the side. That would be quite cool. I kind of realized the first time that this might become a business when it just started growing and kept growing, and obviously then I basically realized, look, you can't really keep up with that. It's too much stuff going on the website. You need to hire people, you need to professionalize, you need to roll out that product to different languages and different markets. You need to get a proper infrastructure in place and all those kind of things. So it was a very gradual kind of evolution thing until at one point I realized, look, it can't really go on like that. It has to become professional, or I kind of have to stop it because it was just taking too much of my time and so on.
Okay. I think many affiliates can relate to this, but you went to school for mathematics, not business. How did you make that? How did you start the growth of the business? In other words, did you hire a manager, or did you just begin hiring people yourselves? Could you just tell us a little bit about how you made that transition from a one-man affiliate to an actual business?
Yeah, it was very slow. I mean, probably if I had some business background, if I had some business background, I would have turned it into a business much quicker instead of waiting for like almost or more than 2 years with doing that. But once the decision was made to turn it into a business, I had actually two co-founders. One was very experienced business person. The other was actually a chess grandmaster, so he was more on the strategic and the content side. But I did basically get outside help with turning it into a proper business because I didn't have any business background or knowledge whatsoever. I was the typical university geek, I would say. I mean, philosophy and mathematics is not exactly the most business-minded thing to study. And basically, of course, if I could do anything different, historically, I probably would have professionalized it much sooner. But at that time, I just didn't have the knowledge and experience to do that.
Okay.
So in a nutshell, I got other people who were good at that involved at that stage, which was the right decision.
So do you believe it was the co-founders that really played the key role in that?
I wouldn't say the key role, because the key role of Poker Strategy is still, I guess, the quality of its content, the quality of the education, and the credibility of the product, and building the community and so on. But all of that is not going to help you grow a business if you don't have the business expertise. So it was in a sense, it was key to the success of it, but so was the other stuff. So
sure.
The combination of the enthusiasm for the product and the business background, the combination of that was actually what made it successful.
And how did you meet your co-founders?
Actually, it was quite funny because I met the chess grandmaster because he also switched to poker. So he was a good poker player, and the business person was basically a good friend of his. So it was purely an incident, basically, or a coincidence, so to speak. We basically met online, and then we met up. So.
Okay.
Yeah, just a chance occurrence.
Okay. And how does the non-business guy end up being the CEO?
Well, I kind of turned into a business guy over the years.
Okay.
And I was also always the front-facing person. So in our forums, for example, I myself have more than 12,000 postings. I still am in daily touch with the community. In the early days, I did most of the poker coachings myself. I wrote lots of the strategy articles myself. And of course, I mean, the lack of business knowledge I had in the early days, I just acquired over the years. Yeah. So I guess that's why.
Great. So how many employees does the company currently have, and are there multiple offices? Is there one office? Can you tell us just about the corporate makeup of the business?
Yeah, we are based in Gibraltar. We have 160 full-time employees here. In addition to that, we have around 550 to 600 paid freelancers around the world, like all over the place, like in China and Russia and South America and in Germany and the UK. Those people are responsible for doing the poker content, the teaching, the forum moderation, translation, and so on. And then we also have an IT company that does our database stuff and web development. They are based in Germany with around 70 people. So in total, that makes us like 700 or so, of which 230 actually full-time, and around 550 to 600 freelance. So it's quite a big operation, actually.
Wow, okay. And how do you find these freelancers? Without giving away any secrets, I mean, that's a lot of freelancers, probably more than anyone else in the industry from an affiliate perspective. How do you find good quality freelancers to work with you?
Yeah. It's hard, and it took a lot of time. So basically, it took us, at the end of the day, it took us almost 5 years. Basically, we recruit them from within our community. I mean, we have more than 5.5 million members, and that's how we recruit those freelancers. I would say it's probably fair to say that out of our freelancers, maybe 90% are actually, or still are, active members of our community. So that's how we can basically, and the cool thing is that, for example, for people that teach poker, many of them actually learn poker through Poker Strategy, so we can ensure a very high level of quality and consistency. That's a key thing. If you have freelancers, finding freelancers maybe not that hard. Finding good freelancers or managing them correctly, that you have a solid quality standard, that you make sure that you only pay an invoice if the work is actually being delivered, which sounds easy, but if you have 550 of them, you need to have a good quality assurance in place, with accounting in place. Those kind of things is what we have learned over the years and perfected over the years. But the main source of recruitment is clearly our community.
Okay, great. And what are the different business models that Poker Strategy deploys to generate revenue?
Well, the key business model has always been the same. It's that we mostly target people that haven't played poker before. We get them into touch with poker, hopefully create some enthusiasm for the game, and also teach them how to play properly. Once they have learned how to play, there's basically two ways that they can play poker for real money. One is they deposit money straight away, or the other option is they take one of our free money offers, which is the $3.50 promotion that we have been running since almost 5 years, or through another micro bankroll that a few poker rooms give out for themselves. Once they have money on the side, either by making a deposit or getting the free money offer, and they start playing, obviously as an affiliate, we earn a revenue share or CPA revenue. And the key thing for us is that really, once that happens, so once they have converted to real money players, that's really when our job really starts, because then we continue to teach and educate and support those players. And it's really our goal to make them enjoy poker as much as possible and teach them how to play. And then, of course, many players will be able to become sustainable poker players or even winning players. Others won't, because learning poker is actually not that easy, but they might still enjoy the game and play for fun, even over a longer period of time. So either way, it's a good result, I would say. And our customers really like it because our interest is clearly aligned with them, and that has been working quite well.
Great. So in terms of business models, however, revenue share is obviously a main component. Do you do CPA, hybrid deals? Just in terms of your actual commercials that you cut with various operators?
It really depends. I mean, I think historically it probably has been 50% CPA, 50% revenue share. For us, it's really the same thing, because we would never take the approach to exploit any of those revenue models. So our view is always, if we work with the poker room, that we treat a CPA player exactly the same as we would treat a revenue share player. So we would never discriminate against customers because one customer might be CPA, the other might be revenue share. For us, we treat it very agnostically. At the end of the day, for us, it's a long-term approach. So it really mostly depends on the preferences of the operator. If they prefer CPA, we can work on a CPA basis. If they prefer revenue share, we can do revenue share. But we really see it as the same thing ultimately. And in the long term, it really, really is.
Okay, great.
Having said that, maybe we are in a special situation because we have strong relationships with all the operators that we work with. From an affiliate's point of view, if you are just starting out as an affiliate, you might prefer the CPA because you know what you are getting, or you might prefer the CPA because you might be concerned about not getting paid at some time or so. But for us, we don't really have those concerns, but that's mostly due to the nature of the relationships that we have with the operator.
Okay. In terms of traffic, how many page views does Poker Strategy receive on a monthly basis?
Let me actually quickly double check. I prepared some data. So on a monthly basis, we have about 90 million page views. And so basically over the last year, it was in total 1.1 billion page views.
1.1 billion?
Over a year, yeah.
Okay.
But on a monthly basis, it's 90 million page views.
And without giving any specifics, I mean, what markets, what are the major markets that comprise of that 90 million?
Well, our strongest market is the Russian-speaking countries. That's being followed by the German-speaking countries, and then you would have Spanish, French-speaking countries. Italy, of course, those regulated markets are also strong, and then it kind of diversifies. So in total, I would say, I mean, we have managed to become quite successful in most or pretty much all of the languages that we offer. So our share of page views is almost, again, with maybe the strong focus on the Russian market, because there we are very successful, is almost in line with how the total poker market is. So just shows that our business model really works also in different markets and different regions.
That's definitely a lot of traffic. In terms of focusing on, many affiliates look at only first-time monthly depositors, and I know that your business is a little bit different. You're looking at also real money players. Can you tell our audience a little bit about the difference, difference between the two, and why looking at real money players is important for your business? Just a little bit of insight.
So, I mean, given that we have been running those free money campaigns, the $3.50 campaign or $3.05, $3.10 campaigns for like more than 5 years, and we earn on a revenue share on a qualified CPA basis, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter for our business model whether a player becomes a real money poker player by depositing his own money, or whether he took up one of the free money offers and then became a high volume real money player. So of course, we do also care about deposits because poker rooms care about that and so on. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter for us. And as long as there's a good balance between people that make a deposit and people that take a free money offer, it's going to be fine. So from our point of view, again, what I just said before, we don't discriminate against players in any way, so we treat everybody the same. So from that point of view, it doesn't really make a difference for us whether it's somebody is a first depositor or somebody took a free money offer.
You had mentioned before the interview some of your biggest players in terms of rake volume have been players that never deposited, that just took your $50 free money and made a big go at it. Is that true?
Yeah, of course. I mean, in poker, there is, of course, a strong correlation between how much money a player wins and how much money a player generates in rake. The highest rakers are usually also winning players. So therefore, if somebody somebody that is a really strong and smart and dedicated player, a $50 bankroll or $50 free money offer in principle is all he needs to become successful, because obviously we teach also bankroll management, we teach different strategies. So the most successful poker players, they build a bankroll based on that. And once they have a certain amount of money, they move up to a higher limit, and it continues on going until they reach the highest stakes. So that's true for some of the most successful players. Having said that, of course, unfortunately, the vast majority of people who take a free money offer won't succeed because being good at poker is actually quite hard. I mean, it is mostly a skill game actually, and even if you provide great education, what you really can't control is that people actually take it seriously and actually use that education and study and host hands and discuss strategies and so on. So, but yes, I mean, in principle, there is a correlation between how skilled a player is and how much rake and profits for himself he actually generates. So it can actually be a nice win-win situation in that instance.
Okay. So since launching in 2007, how many real money players has Poker Strategy generated?
I think in total it's now more than 1.1 million that we have generated, which is quite a substantial amount actually.
Yes, definitely. And how about on a monthly basis, using maybe an average of the last couple of months? What would you say the number is?
On a monthly basis, I would say it's around, around 30,000 or so.
Okay. And how
there's
about...
some seasonality there, it kind of depends, but 30,000 is probably the right number.
Okay. And how many of those 30,000 are actually first-time depositing players?
See, for us, it's hard to say because we often don't get the data. So, because when somebody, hold on. So we don't get full data because if somebody has taken a free money offer, we would not know when they make their first deposit because we see them as generating revenue, but we don't know in many instances. In some instances, we do know. It depends on the poker room. But give and take, first-time depositors, I would say around 4,000 or so a month, 4,000 to 5,000 a month, roughly speaking.
Okay, that's helpful. And in terms of acquiring new traffic to Poker Strategy, obviously there has to be a huge viral component because of just the nature of the business. But how does Poker Strategy acquire most of its new traffic and new customers coming into the site?
Well, it is largely viral. So our main source of traffic is clearly existing customers recommending other people to join our community. So that is by far the most important acquisition channel for us. Now we do try to incentivize that by basically having a tell a friend program where if you are a member of Poker Strategy and refer somebody to us, you can kind of get a small tiered CPA for that. So yeah, but in a nutshell, the answer is virality.
Okay, but you do have a paid referral program for players to refer other players, correct?
That's right.
Okay, great. So talking about just a recent trend amongst many poker rooms, many of them are negatively sanctioning strong players in lieu of acquiring weak players, also known as fish. You had mentioned before the interview that this is a fundamental mistake, and I know you've also written a column. We'll go ahead and link to that column for our audience. Can you just tell our audience in 2 minutes why is that a bad idea for poker rooms to be avoiding strong players?
So let me start with the first point. It is absolutely correct for poker rooms to recruit new players to the game and also recreational players, because ultimately every dollar that can be won at poker by strong players, so that can be converted into rake, must have been deposited by somebody else. So increasing deposits from new players is very important for the sustainability of poker. However, and that's what I argue in my column, just because acquiring new players or weaker players or recreational players is a good thing, it doesn't mean that conversely you should kind of be putting off or discriminating negatively against strong players. And there's multiple reasons for that. Of course, it's a PR thing, it's a negative marketing thing, but also, and that's what I argue in my column, it's hard to explain in words, but it will actually cause the poker rooms to earn less money, because what it does, it affects the conversion rate from deposits into rake. So if you have a strong, if your average player skill level is high, what it usually does is that, for the poker room's perspective, it actually causes the poker rooms to convert more money that's floating around into rake as opposed to it all converting into cash outs. Now, of course, if you are a strong player, you might say, oh, that's quite bad because I want to take those profits. But the reason I think why it's an important argument to make is that I think it's probably the most convincing argument to convince those poker rooms that are discriminating against strong players to actually stop doing that. Of course, there can be an outrage in the communities, there can be an outrage on 2+2, that, you know, the poker room shouldn't be doing that, and it's bad for the winning players and so on. But at the end of the day, I think the key argument, or the most convincing argument that gets poker rooms who are on this misguided path to actually stop doing that, if you can kind of rationally show that this is actually hurting their bottom line. And I'm convinced that it is. And the actual details, I think it's really hard to explain in words, but it's better to kind of read the column and see it in writing, because it is quite a complex subject. And if it was so easy, then obviously poker rooms wouldn't be making that mistake in the first place.
Sure. Well, we'll make sure we go ahead and again link to that column for everyone to read. And if they have any questions, I'm sure they'll be in touch. Just sort of some broader based questions for you. What were sort of 3 of the key decisions that you made in the infancy of the business that really helped make the company what it is today?
See, that's a very good question. And at the end of the day, I don't really know, because as I see it, it's almost like it's like a daily challenge. So I don't think that there has been the key decision. It's really much harder than that. I mean, very often when you read success stories of companies and so on, they say, oh, and then suddenly I had this great idea and then everything changed. I can't really say that. It's really doing your best every day and continuing to question oneself and continuing to reevaluate things and to adjust to the situation as it changes. And in particular in poker, there have been so many drastic changes in the past in the market and so on, that it's very important to stay open, to adapt, and hopefully make the right decisions every day. I don't really believe in those big turning points in the business. At least that is not something where I would say that this has made poker strategy successful. I mean, fundamentally, we have stayed true to our core business model and core approach since we were founded in 2007. We haven't made any drastic 180-degree changes, but we have constantly evolved, constantly made small adaptations, and mostly, I guess, the correct ones. So I would say it's a constant struggle. It's not that you have the eureka moment and then suddenly everything is great. I don't think that actually works in practice.
How did you stay focused on one site and one business? I think this is a mistake that many affiliates make. They launch their new affiliates in the first year. They launch 50 websites. I don't know how many other websites Poker Strategy has, but it looks like you've stayed focused over the last 5 years. How did you do that?
So first of all, we just have one website. And secondly, and many people don't really believe that, but it's totally true, we have never ever done any SEO. We had some external agencies, but that was a total failure. SEO is not our focus at all. We are actually really, really bad at SEO. It's quite sad to say that, but unfortunately it's actually true. Now, I guess this habit of starting many websites probably comes from an SEO mindset. I don't know, because I'm not knowledgeable in SEO. But if you kind of think that an affiliate website is there to generate leads and you put a banner on the side and then hopefully people click on it, like the classical old school affiliation approach, I think that is going out of fashion more and more quickly. I think My recommendation to affiliates is to build a valuable product. And what does value mean? Value either means value to the customer or value to the business partner, right? A website that actually does something and adds something. And this has always been our focus. Now, of course, building a valuable product is much more effort. I mean, there's a reason why we have 230 full-time employees and 550 paid freelancers all working on one website. So basically, the reason why we just have one website is because that one website is so much work and requires so much attention and development on a daily basis that there just wasn't enough time to do other things. In general, that would probably be my recommendation for affiliates that are starting out, to build something that actually generates value in any way, shape, or form. It could be different things. It could be news content. It could be education like we do. It could be some kind of more disruptive idea or innovative idea, like, I don't know, PokerTube, for example. It could be something that I can't even think of. But I do think that that is the more sustainable thing to do. And also, if you build value, proper value for the customer, for the business partner, you are much harder to be cut out as an unnecessary middleman or so, because some poker rooms, of course, have cut back on their affiliate programs in the past. And it's very hard to get hit by that if you really are just a pass-through kind of traffic hub. So I do think building a valuable product is key. And if you do that, you won't have time to do multiple websites, I guess.
Okay. Thank you for that. In terms of choosing the right partners, I mean, obviously, I understand creating a lot of value for your audience is key, but sending that audience to the right poker rooms where they're getting the right experience, the product they expect, and you obviously as a business get paid. How do you choose the right partners, the right poker rooms to work with, and especially at the volumes of players that you're delivering, just to ensure that, again, the relationship is sustainable? What's the process?
Well, that's a very difficult and complicated one. Luckily, we got it right thus far. So we have never had any poker room that we worked with, seriously screw up or go out of business, with the exception of Full Tilt, although I guess nobody saw that one coming, really. It's multiple things. So again, speaking from an affiliate's point of view, I do think it's very important that you absolutely know who you are dealing with, that you know what kind of company is it, what kind of substance do they have, is it a big company, is it a small company, are they trustworthy, all those kind of things. I think is something you must check. You must check as an affiliate for your own security, but also for the security of your customers. So we take that very seriously, and probably every week we turn down 3 different poker rooms or entities that kind of want to cooperate with us, because we have relatively or very high standards when it comes to choosing our business partners. Then, of course, when you want to establish a business partnership, I always recommend to have a proper contract in place. Also, standard terms and so on, they can be very one-sided at times. Apart from that, of course, so that covers kind of the business-to-business side. Then, of course, more important is the business-to-customer side. So you have to make sure that the poker brands you promote are actually good products, ideally. I mean, it's not always possible, and companies change, and there might be, of course, there's differences in quality. One poker room has a great software, another poker room has a poor software, one poker room has a great customer service, another has not such a great customer service. But it's basically very important that one keeps its eyes open for that and is aware of it, and then obviously has a threshold under which one would not work with a poker room anymore. Even though they might be offering good rates to you as an affiliate, I don't think it's worth it if it kind of means you have to upset your customers. And it's kind of the same long-term philosophy that goes with building a valuable product for the customers. It's also that you can only work with certain business partners. You just can't work with everybody. And if you just look at the amount of poker rooms that have gone, bankrupt or out of business in the past, probably more than 40 or so, it kind of shows that it does pay off to kind of choose your partners very carefully.
Great. Just talking about value again and what affiliates can do. Your brand is probably the strongest in the poker industry from an affiliate or just a poker perspective. What can affiliates do to build a strong brand? Delivering value is definitely a key component, but what else can be done to really have a brand that stands out from just a regular website?
I do think, ultimately speaking, if you want to have a strong brand, you need a strong product. Because what can it be? It can either be a strong product, of course, it can either be a strong product, right? You have a great website, something that's great for the customer, Of course, then you can try as a business to contribute to industry debates. That might help, but it can also backfire. It kind of depends. But ultimately speaking, if you want to have a strong brand, you must have a strong product. It's as simple as that. I don't think that with a crap product, just throwing money at marketing is going to really get you a strong brand. It could work, but it's most likely just going to be not worth it, because in the internet age, in particular, when you take the poker audience, people are just too smart. They're not going to be clouded by expensive marketing if they kind of see that your product is not great, or your customer service is not great, or anything else doesn't really add up. You're not going to be able to build a strong brand. So my recommendation is, I mean, as previously, for affiliates to really focus on their product, add value, treat your customers well, and then the brand will basically come naturally.
Okay. And Domenic, we know that Poker Strategy has a robust affiliate program. What are the different ways that affiliates that are watching this interview can potentially work with Poker Strategy as an affiliate?
Yeah. So our affiliate program is relatively simple. It's basically a tiered CPA program. So you refer a player to Poker Strategy, and he gets converted into a real money player, either by making a small deposit or by getting one of our free bankrolls. And he earns a certain amount of strategy points, which are ultimately based on rate. You as an affiliate get a CPA. And it's a tiered CPA with different targets. You can earn up to $500 for each player. Now, it's really simple to use. So you just sign up to the website and you get your referral code, or you can also use our income access integration for that if you kind of need more sophisticated statistics and so on. And I would say the advantage that you have as an affiliate is that it's different from your classical proposition. You might have an affiliate site, you might have 10 poker rooms on there, but they are all poker rooms. Poker Strategy is kind of unique because it's a poker school, it offers a poker education, and it offers a free bankroll. So it's kind of a different product. And I guess from an affiliate's point of view, our product should be perfect for converting marginal traffic. Of course, if somebody is already determined, I want to gamble, I want to make a $600 deposit at a poker room straight away, as an affiliate, you should send them to the poker room. You shouldn't send them to us. But all these, unconvinced players, people that are not gamblers, they are not convinced that they must make a real money deposit now. I think as an affiliate, if you refer them to Poker Strategy, we have a much, much better chance at converting them and really helping them out with our education, the free bankroll, and so on. So I guess that's why I do think that if you are a poker affiliate, having Poker Strategy as part of your portfolio is always a great thing to have, because it's kind of synergistic to promoting poker rooms.
Okay. And finally, Domenic, what are your thoughts on the U.S. market in terms of poker? How is Poker Strategy positioning itself? Give us your general idea.
Yeah. So U.S. market is, of course, an opportunity, but also a big challenge for us, because historically, we never took any U.S. customers. We have always been on the paranoid side when it comes to the legal thing. And, well, luckily or unluckily, as you want to see it, we have been proven right by those Black Friday events and so on. But now, of course, that regulation is upcoming in the US. We are seeking to play a role there. So we are talking to many companies in that space and see what we can do there. So we also slowly start to build a database of US customers, because now we basically can, because there's no way where they can play. At least they can't play real money poker through any of our partners. So we just try to get the ball rolling there. But obviously, it really is a question of when the regulation will actually happen, because that's going to be the starting point for us. But at the end of the day, we have to start afresh, because we don't have any historic database that we can use at all. And the other thing that could be interesting for us is, apart from the classic affiliation model, is using our expertise when it comes to poker education. For example, to help poker rooms or upcoming poker rooms to build their own educational portfolios. So any of the US operators, once they have their own poker school, not PokerStrategy.com, but totally their own, we can clearly help them build it and run it. And that's also something that we are looking into.
So potentially white labeling the Poker Strategy concept to operators.
Yeah, in principle, yeah. That's something we are looking into. White labeling, it could be a white label, but most likely it's going to be tailor-made. It really depends on what the business partners would be looking for. But I do think, that's something we have so much experience in, and we have the infrastructure and the people to do it. So it's clearly an opportunity for us in the United States.
Okay. Well, Domenic, thanks very much for your time today. Congratulations on all the success and achievements you've accomplished. If our viewers are interested in getting a hold of Domenic, please send an email to interviews@casinoaffiliateprograms.com. We'll be more than happy to put you in touch. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for future interviews with iGaming industry leaders.
Thank you.